Welcome everybody. This is Bill Cates with our monthly webinar. Today, topic is turbocharge your networking to see more qualified prospects. How do you see more people? And our resident expert today will be Steve Perlman, LUTCF. I'll tell you a little more about Steve in a minute. I hope you have a pad of paper and a notepad and a pencil ready to go and ready to take lots of notes because it's going to be a high content program. We're going to have an opportunity for questions, so go ahead and start entering your questions as we go in the question box, and after about 35 minutes of high content, we'll get into that and we'll answer as many as we possibly can. We are recording this, so if you would, everyone on this call should be getting the link to the recording. If for some reason you didn't get it, just let me know. We'll get it out to you really quick. And we're not going to be sharing the actual slides, so if you like a slide, take your smartphone, take your tablet, use screen capture software, and capture the slide that way, and you'll have it for all time. And you can always bounce back to us if you missed a slide or something like that and let us know. Even in the questions box, we can go back. So today's agenda is pretty simple. We're going to talk about what Networking Champions is, what the system is, what is a networking champion. Steve's going to share with you the 7 principles and action steps related to networking champions, things you can be doing on a regular basis at networking events to see more people. Then we're going to take a deep dive into choosing the right champion or right champions for yourself, what that looks like, who you want to look for. I'm going to tell you just a little bit about the Referral Coach Academy because it's a way to go deep with all the value that we have. And then we're going to come right back with another deep dive into another one of the principles, which is crafting an engaging introduction. And then from there, we'll get into some questions and answers. So the Networking Champion system really will allow you to see more people. And of course, when you see more people and you bring value to them and you build the value, then you're going to turn more of them into clients. You'll make more money and have more fun. This is, I guess, the branding statement of Networking Champion system. See more people, get more clients, make more money, have more fun. And so the creator and the communicator of the Networking Champions program and system is Steve Perlman. Steve is an agent and registered rep and RIAR. He's a recovering, as he says, manager from a major mutual life insurance company, and he's a master networker. And what you need to know is that most of the people on this call are financial professionals. Steve is a practicing financial professional. He's every day in the trenches doing what you're doing, trying to see more people, trying to build value, trying to turn those folks into clients and serve those clients. So with that, Steve, I'm going to turn it over to you and have you take over until it's time to talk a little bit about the Academy.
Thanks, Bill, and good afternoon to everybody here on the East Coast, and to those of you in the Western time zones, a good morning. My name is Steve Perlman, and as Bill said, I am still a practicing registered rep, and I am part of my corporate RIA here in my office. I've been in the business since the 1990s and have been working on building my practice ever since. The first thing that I wanted to share with you folks is something that was said to me early on in my career. I was in a meeting about one aspect of my business, and the presenter turned around and he said to the audience, if you want to do something you've never done, you've absolutely got to become somebody you've never been. And I sat there and I thought about it for a while, because there's no truer statement. Everything that I had done up until that moment had brought me to exactly where I was in my business. So there was no reason for me to believe that if I kept doing what I was doing the way that I was doing it, that anything was ever going to change. We all know that occasionally you're going to hit into one of those cases where out of left field something falls into line, but I really wanted to take more control of my career. And therefore I said, okay, let me do an evaluation of what I'm doing and let's see what I can do to make it better. So for a moment, what I want you to do is I just want you to imagine something. Imagine that you have a Chamber of Commerce event coming up, or a business card exchange or something like that that you go to, once in a blue moon. Last time you left with only 2 cards in your pocket, there really, really wasn't anything there that was really meaningful for you. You didn't have any system. You really didn't have a talk that you were using with them to set up a time or to move forward. It was more of one of those casuals, hey, listen, I'll reach out to you in the next day or so, and hopefully we can schedule some time to get together. And quite honestly, nothing ever came of it. So, you went ahead and you went to these events and you stood around and you made casual conversation with some of the people that you knew from previous events, and occasionally you would engage in a conversation and talk to people about whether it was your business or the local sports teams or whatever the case may be. And then ultimately, sometime about 45 minutes into the event, the person who was coordinating it introduced the host. They thanked them for the use of the facilities. They thanked them for the food. And, ultimately, you went home with 2 cards in your pocket, and, that was that. So, in retrospect, you look back and you sit back and you say to yourself, I might as well have just had dinner at home, because quite honestly, and I know from doing these events that the food probably would have been better. So, quite honestly, I'm sure that none of you have ever gone to an event and had that happen to you, right? I mean, your events are just absolutely off the charts every single time. So, that was me. That was me starting out in the events, going out, networking, joining the local Chamber of Commerce, and then I realized that there's got to be a better way. So now I want you to imagine something different. Now I want you to imagine your friend Teresa, who is a corporate recruiter, calls you up and tells you there's a networking event for young professionals next week, next Wednesday night. So now, because you've been through Networking Champion system, you're energized and you're excited. Why? Because you and Teresa have been working on a new approach to networking. This time it's going to be different than anything you've ever done before. You have a game plan to work the room, to make networking more effective, more efficient than ever, and you're going in with a goal in your head once you assess the room of how effective you're going to be. You're going to go into a room and you're going to see that there are 20 people there, 30 people there, 40 people there. You and Teresa are going to look at each other and say, okay, how many cards do you want to get out of this event? How many cards do I want to get out of this event? I know that if I went to an event with 40 people in the room, I was walking out with at least 15 cards in my hands. If I had 2 hours, I was getting 5, 6, 7 hours. And of those, I probably had 5 or 6 people who were expecting my phone call the following morning. So now, instead of just going in and casually saying to people, hi, my name is, you have a script. That script will help you engage, inform, and accelerate the process from handshake to getting that first appointment to sit down and discuss your business. You and Teresa have had a chance to role play and to practice, and maybe you got together the week before the event, maybe you got together for an hour, hour and a half before the event, and you know what, the bottom line is you make it sound all natural and so unrehearsed. So now instead of dread, you go to these events and you've got game, right? Instead of hoping you'll have a good night, you know that the room is in the palm of your hand. And let me ask you a question. Ultimately, who are you going to be? Are you going to be the you that you are today, or are you going to take control of your career? Are you going to be sitting with your manager in your weekly meeting and only to have him tell you what you already know about your business, which is, I'm looking at your calendar here, Bob, or Steve, as they would say, and it seems like you have a lot of open time on there for us to talk, and in the back of your mind that, your manager always has these little catchphrases like, in our industry, when we see people with a lot of white spaces in their weekly calendar coming up, we try to be nice about it and say that they have excess capacity for more clients. So, now your manager's telling something as if you already didn't know it, or are you going to be shooting an email off to your manager and saying, hey, can we move around our weekly meeting? I'm really, really busy this week. I have 2 new opens or prospects I met at the chamber event on Tuesday night. Quite honestly, I was on both sides of the desk. I started out as an agent. I spent 4 years as a manager at a major mutual life insurance company. I know what it's like to have one of my agents come down and sit in front of me, and we do a review of what he had or what she had done for the previous week, and there were no opens. There was one open. There was one open that was an open from a month before. What does that mean? No new names. No new people. So because I was that agent, because I was that manager, while I was that agent, I developed this system. At its fundamental core, what Networking Champion says is that you will no longer go prospecting and networking alone. That you can absolutely, without a doubt, and I've proven this now for over 20 years in the business, get better results working with your networking champion. All the strategies, all the tactics, all the methods I teach support and design the leverage the assumption that you will not be alone during this event, that you will be working the event together the whole time. You know, a wise person once said to me, you know, if you go into a networking event for the food, quite frankly, you're in the wrong business. So working together with your champion, working this system is going to make you more effective, more efficient. Quite honestly, the people that see you at events are going to become much more admired because they're still getting their 1 or 2 cards. They're not meeting everybody in the room. They see you and your network champion over in the corner debriefing at the end with what looks like a full house in each one of your hands. So that is the fundamental belief. Let me tell you something that I learned as a manager coming into this industry. And I'm sure there are managers on this call and there are agents on this call who've been in the business for a while. And yes, these numbers may be a little bit off one way or another, but they're not off by a lot. I saw a chart like this when I went into management in the early 2000s. And here's what this chart is telling you. Of 100 agents starting their career today, 89 out of 100 people will not be in the business to start their 4th year. Let me just say that again. Of 100 agents starting their career today, at some point in the first 36 months, they will be out of the business. And quite honestly, of the 89 that are out of the business in the first 36 months, the majority of those are out of the business in the first 18 months. And there's one reason, and one reason that we could point to most often why people fail in this business. They don't have enough new people to see. Name flow becomes the key to staying in this business, to building yourself a viable practice. Name flow will cure everything. Let me say that again. Name flow will cure everything. If you're not that good at product, seeing more people will help make you better at product. If you're not good at fact finding, seeing more people will give you more opportunities to get better at fact finding. If you're not better at closing, guess what? Having more appointments will ultimately make you better at closing. Name flow is the key to creating a career that is viable for you until you get that buzz that successful agents have for being in this industry. The Networking Champion system basically is built on 7 principles. First one is choosing the right champion. Second is getting clear, crystal clear about who it is that you want to meet. The third, you need to learn to craft an engaging introduction when you're meeting people out networking. Remember, unlike when you're on the phone and they say you have between 4 and 7 seconds to capture their attention, when you're in front of them, that process can be accelerated even more because of the biases and the natural thoughts that people are going to have when they judge you when you walk up to them right from the get-go. The next step is you have to learn to use business owner speak. And this is a critical piece of your referred talk and of your introduction talk. You need to get your mindset correct when you're talking with people. Ultimately, you need to have a compelling story as to why you're in this business. And for people who have participated in Networking Champion Systems boot camps, we go through some of the compelling stories that each of us bring to the table. And quite honestly, we've had agents borrow a story from somebody else until they have one of their own. Sometimes people come into this industry and they really don't have that compelling story, but they hear one along the way and they use that as a reason for them to be successful in the insurance and investment business. Lastly, you have to have a complete follow-up plan coming up after the event. It's not enough to simply go to an event and collect cards. You have to have a follow-up plan. And lastly, you have to adopt an abundance mindset. And on our website, you'll see that there's a page there where I talk about the words that should be used inside of your own head when you're out networking. And that whole article is really about developing an abundance mindset. So for today, we're only going to work on 2 of the 7 principles. We're going to start off with choosing the right champion, and ultimately we're going to finish up with crafting an engaging introduction. So, first principle of networking champions, choosing the right champion. Let's talk about this. Your champion's personality has to complement yours. The bottom line is you cannot have 2 introverts going out networking. It doesn't work. Neither one of you will engage. You can't have 2 extroverts or people who are as equally extroverted going out and networking, because then you create a lot of confusion. You want to select someone whose personality complements yours. Somebody who knows how to take the lead and take the driver's seat, and then somebody who ultimately knows how to step back and let you take the driver's seat as well. You and your champion need to absolutely share the same excitement, commitment, and energy for helping each other grow your respective businesses. This is not about you finding somebody who's going to go out there and help you build your business. You want somebody who has a need, a desire, and a goal to build their business as well, to be your champion. That will keep them motivated. That will keep you sharp as well. Your champion also should have a competitive side. I know that when I would go out with my networking partners and my networking champions, we would set a goal for that night. The one with the most cards would either buy lunch the next day, or maybe if we were going out afterwards, they would buy the first round of soda or drinks or beer, whatever the case may be. So there was a prize. There was a reason why you wanted to end up with the most cards, or there was a reason why you wanted to help your champion end up with the most cards. This is how you start to make networking fun. This is critical for you to understand. Your networking champion is not in your business. They're not from your industry, and they're especially not somebody from your office. I saw this all the time. If you bring somebody out from your office and your networking champion introduces you, there's going to come a moment when you need to introduce back your champion, and the last thing that you want to do at that moment is have your champion say, oh, by the way, I'm a life insurance agent also. You've just created instantaneous competition, because for all you know, your champion who was standing there presenting you to this person that you just met, presenting you as the best, single most important contact for them to meet that evening, and the person they need to schedule an appointment with right away, looks exactly like somebody they grew up with, or sounds exactly like their favorite cousin. Now, where you've been working with your champion to be introduced as the best possible source for people to fulfill their life insurance and investment needs, now by bringing somebody from your office, you've created instantaneous conversation. You don't want that to happen. There is one exception to this rule, and that is if you and the other person from your office are true revenue sharing partners, and that either one of you can meet with the prospect at that first meeting. I've been quoted several times before in saying that friends buy friends drinks, but married people share revenue. So just think about that for a moment. Friends buy friends drinks, but if you're truly working together and you are revenue sharing partners, you have a marriage, and that is okay when you're out networking, is to bring that partner. The other thing is you have to make sure that your partner is not necessarily just your backroom technician. You have to make sure that your partner is equally excited about growing your business, not just running the business. So while introductions are progressing, make sure you introduce your champion as well. And that's why you want to have a champion from a different business and a different industry. Because as introductions are being made, you're getting a feel for the prospect standing in front of you. You're getting a feel if this person fits your ideal profile or maybe your champion's ideal profile of who you want to meet. And quite honestly, if this person doesn't fit the profile for either one of you, then you know from your training how to get out of that conversation quickly and move on to the next person in the room. You need to think of your champion as your personal icebreaker. When you're using the networking champion system, your champion is getting that conversation initiated. Your champion is going from person to person. The both of you are eyeballing the room. You're taking turns, taking the lead, breaking the ice, getting that conversation started so that you can move through the room quickly and efficiently and effectively. Hey, Bill, you want to pick it up from here?
So I just want to take a minute to introduce you to our Referral Coach Academy. It's a very state-of-the-art, interactive way for you to master the entire referral process. And when you go to referralcoachacademy.com, you see that you can take an interactive tour there. It's about 5 minutes. It'll give you a pretty good look into what the Referral Coach Academy is. It's going to help you create more engaged clients who actually follow your recommendations and set appointments with these qualified prospects, and then help you convert these high-level prospects who become advocates for your business. And you'll be able to ask for referrals without pushing, without begging, and then create great introductions so you have prospects waiting to hear from you. It's a great system that will allow you to build your business. And it's more than just a course. It's short, interactive lessons accessible on any device, on a computer, on a tablet, even on a smartphone. It comes with our 60-day referral blitz. It's a 60-day action plan that tells you exactly what to do week by week by week to get the best results you possibly can. There's coaching for me all along the way. There's a little button you can hit. You can send me questions, send me examples, send me scenarios, and I'll get back to you. And then we're going to give you word tracks, scripts. You may not memorize the scripts, but they give you word tracks so you can find the words that are genuine for you, right? So you'll never be at a loss for a word before. And then we're going to have at least 6, but we really will do more like 9 or 10 group coaching calls every year. So by being a member of a Referral Coach Academy, you get to have access to me on a group coaching call almost every month to make sure that you're putting to use the right tools and doing the right thing. So this is we also come with as a special bonus what we call Rapid Fire Referrals, the Habit Maker. And this is 104 brief and I like to say brilliant lessons delivered over the course of a year. So we're going to keep referrals top of mind awareness. We're going to keep branding and centers of influence and sales skills and networking skills top of mind awareness for at least a year. And you can save $100 if you use the coupon code RFR100. You see it there on the screen. When you go to checkout, you'll save $100. It bumps it down to $297. It's really a pretty significant and easy investment for you to make. 100% money back guarantee, so you really have nothing to lose. Just go to referralcoachacademy.com to get yourself started. And now we'll get back to Steve Perlman with the second principle of networking champions.
Thanks, Bill. We're going to wrap it up here pretty quickly here. So we're going to get started with how to craft an engaging introduction. You know, I like to do a lot of reading, and I like to follow a lot of people and quotes, and I go to Brainy Quotes online. It's really, really helpful for me. It gives me a lot of inspiration. And I saw one of these quotes from a gentleman named Lane Kirkland, and I thought about it, and I looked at it for a while, and it really, really holds true when you're out with your networking champion building your business. He said the usefulness of a meeting rises with the square of the number of people present. So let's talk about that for a second. If you have 2 people and you take the square of those 2 people and you wanted to measure the effectiveness of that meeting, the square of 2 is 4. But now when you put 3 people in a meeting, the square of 3 is 9. And 9 is basically a measure of the effectiveness of the output of that meeting. And the reason that the usefulness and the effectiveness rises is because you're now bringing a third person's life experience to the table. You're now bringing another perspective to the table. So now you're saying things that your champion can feed off of. Your champion is saying things that you can feed off of. You're both hearing things that the prospect is saying to the both of you, and you're creating more conversation and more excitement. So when I saw this, I thought it was very, very interesting, and it really applies when you're using the networking champion system. So if you're going to be introduced to you, what would you want to hear that would make you interested and say, I want to hear more? You know, listen carefully here. We're going to move a little fast. We are a little crunched for time here, so I just want to hit you with some quick slides, and I want you to just take some quick notes on this. When you are going ahead and crafting an engaging introduction, you have to share the benefits of working with you. It's not enough just to explain the facts. Hi, my name is, I work for this company, I've been in this business, and oh, by the way, here's all my designations. That's not enough. You have to have an engaging introduction that when people hear that from you, they are immediately getting the benefits of working with you. They're hearing the facts of who you are. You're helping to explain to them the feeling that your clients and prospects get by working with you. Remember, this is what your champion is going to say when they introduce you. So, oh, by the way, you better keep it simple. All right? Your introduction has to be more about who you will be when you hit that level of success you visualize for yourself than who you are right now. This is a very tough business. I know. I've been doing it since the mid-1990s. I know that when I got started in the business, there were people in my office that were very successful and had made the trips every single year and had national recognition every year, and they had that swagger about them and that confidence about them that comes with success. Let me tell you, I'm sure you've heard it before. In this industry, everybody says, fake it till you make it. When you're out there with your networking champion, you absolutely have to fake it till you make it. You have to think of yourself as that successful leading producer that you will be rather than who you are right now. You know, Zig Ziglar, one of the greatest sales coaches in the industry, always said, what you get by achieving your goals is not as important as who you become by achieving your goals. And that is so true. But the bottom line is, when you're out there presenting yourself and networking with people, you need to be on the top of your game as if you are that top producing agent advisor already. So, for example, here are some of the things that your champion might say. Hi, have you met the most amazing financial advisor in the Philadelphia area who actually reduces the stress when people get by making big financial decisions? How about that? This person actually reduces the stress that people get when making big financial decisions. Or possibly you could say, hi, I want to introduce you to Laura. She has the fastest expanding financial services practice in the area because her practice is customer-centered, comprehensive, and caring. I want you to say hello to Laura. Laura, say hello to, and your name, sir, is? Bill? Bill, Laura. Laura, Bill. Laura, tell Bill what you do. Or you can simply walk up to somebody and say, with that smile on your face, one hand in your pocket, welcome to this wonderful event. Have you met the most dynamic person anywhere for helping people take care of their financial future? I want you to say hello to Bill. And your name, ma'am, is Jacqueline. Bill, say hi to Jacqueline. Jacqueline, say hi to Bill. Bill, tell Jacqueline what you do. It's that simple. But you need to have an introduction that tells the benefits of what you do, not simply just the facts of what you do. Remember your job. If you are the champion, if you are taking the lead, your job is to be the person who is the icebreaker. Your job is to introduce them to each other first as comfortably as you possibly can, and then your partner is going to introduce you back, and you're both going to have the opportunity to evaluate the person standing in front of you to see if either one of you feels that this is somebody that you would want to reach out to tomorrow, a week from now, a month from now, if ever, to become a prospect in your funnel. You need to engage when networking. That's the bottom line. You need to engage. Most importantly, you need to make it fun. Why? Because if it's fun, you're going to look forward to doing it, and you're going to do it more often. I know, and you know, and we all have that excess time on our calendar where we could be going ahead and meeting more people and filling the pipeline and filling our call sheets with more new names. If you're doing something that's fun, you're more likely to do it more often. You need to talk in terms of you in the future. You need to talk about who you are in your mind when you actually achieve that level of success. You have to let them know what's in it for them, and also let them know that it might be good for somebody that they know. Creating that referral culture, being referable, starts with that very, very first interaction. Well, we only had time for 2 of the 7 of the principles of Networking Champion System: choosing the right champion and crafting an engaging conversation. Bill had something he wanted to share with you here at the end.
Thanks, Steve. You know, the ideas that Steve covered are simple. They work. We just have to use them, right? I ran across this slide from Bruce Lee not too long ago, or this photograph, and quote, "Knowing is not enough, we must apply. Willing is not enough, we must do." Right? We need to be willing, and we need to develop the skill, and we have to have both at the same time to produce the results we want to produce. If you work for an organization that you think could benefit from this program, from going deeper with all 7 of these strategies, then please get in touch with us. Steve is available to come to your agency, come to your firm, and deliver the entire 7 principles of the Networking Champion System. You just go to networkingchampionsystem.com to learn a little bit more, and reach out to me, Bill Cates at referralcoach.com. A reminder that if you use the coupon code RFR100, you save $100 off of the Referral Coach Academy. And now we're going to get into some Q&A. Some questions have been coming through, and so Steve, I'll send them to you as we go here. Leonard says, where do you find your champions? Are they your friends, your clients? Who make good champions?
That's a great question, Leonard. And early on, my favorite champion was somebody that I found at a chamber event, because she and I used to end up at the same events, and we were both having the same miserable results. So together, we developed a system of going ahead and making sure that A, we were seeing the maximum number of people in the room, and B, we were keeping each other out of those rabbit hole conversations that would suck up so much time during the course of the night that we would never have an opportunity to meet somebody else. So the first place that I found my network champion was at a networking event. Then another one turned out to become a client of mine who was also building their business. The nice part about working the Networking Champion System is you're no longer the only person who is looking for events for you to attend. I had my sources that were telling me about events that were coming up, and then working with my champion, or champions as the case may be, they were telling me about events that they heard about. So therefore, my opportunities to go networking were increased exponentially. Great question.
Good. John asks, can you have multiple champions?
Absolutely, John. I absolutely had different champions from different disciplines. One of my champions actually is a business coach. Another one of my champions was a banker. A third champion that I worked with all the time was in the real estate business. So each one of those people coming from those different disciplines were getting those emails into their inboxes about all of these other networking events. We would compare calendars, and it would help to fill up all of those blank spaces I had in my calendar. And again, not one of them was able to sit there and say after an introduction, oh, by the way, I'm an insurance or a financial advisor as well. So it made for a very, very, very effective use of my time when I was out networking.
Good. So Tricia says, so both of you build each other up for this third person. How do you do it in a way that doesn't overwhelm this person or seem too contrived? Because two people are going to this other person, and the way you talked about is very enthusiastic. So how do we not overwhelm them? how do we build each other up for the third person?
Good question, Tricia. And this is another reason why you don't want to bring somebody in the industry, and especially from your office. You know that when you meet somebody ice cold at a networking event, you don't know what they're there for. Your champion is there to break the ice. Your champion is to introduce you and build you up in front of this person. Ultimately, and pretty quickly, as you follow all the steps of the networking champion system, you might very quickly decide that this person does not fit your prospect profile. That's why one of the 7 principles is getting clear about who you want to meet. But this person may be exactly the person that your champion is looking for. So during the time that you take with your champion, rehearsing your approach, you also learn very, very easily how to pivot. The last thing you want to do is have both you and your champion looking for the same exact person at the same exact time, because then, yes, it really does feel like you're ganging up on them, and you're both going to call them tomorrow morning to schedule an appointment, and oh my gosh, what just happened? So knowing clearly who you want to meet and knowing how to pivot from either you or back to your champion is going to be critical in the implementation of the networking champion system.
So Tricia has a follow-up question. I think you kind of touched on it, but it says, how do you decide who will contact that person later? Just one of you, both of you? And so, you know, your champion's introducing you, you're introducing your champion, you're finding out who this person is. That person could theoretically be a good prospect for both of you. Halfway through, you could realize that one person really should be the one that should try to create the appointment. Do you send like hand signals to each other? How do you decide that?
You know, hand signals have happened. You know, a gesture like putting my hand on my champion's shoulder was a signal that we used to use all the time. Some other times you would just get out of range and maybe make eye contact. You know, quite honestly, the blind eye roll works really, really well. You know, one of the things that you will see very, very quickly when you're using the networking champion system is you're going to move off of those people who are really not prospects for either one of you. And you're going to find more and more that when you go to networking events, there are a lot of people there who are quite frankly there for the food. So what you want to do is, again, you want to become very crystal clear about who it is you want to meet, and you want to be very, very crystal clear about who your partner wants to meet. And if the person you're speaking to at that moment doesn't fit either one of your criteria, you have to have that very polite transition that allows you to go from one to the other. Great question.
Good. Donna asked about the Referral Coach Academy, so I'll just, we've got a couple other questions coming, but I'll just go to the next slide that has the link there. She wanted to get the link to look into the Referral Coach Academy. So Gary says, one of your early slides, it said and something about use business owner speak, and you said it was critical. So, you know, what do you mean by business owner speak? What is that exactly?
Business owner speak is the mindset. When you realize that you are the person who is in control of your destiny, when you realize that you are the person who is in control of your income this year, you realize that you really do not work for the carrier or the agency that you're affiliated with. You really work for yourself. Because as you know, in any business model, employees don't get to determine their own income. Business owners do. So we drill down and we talk about how you view yourself and what it is you're saying to people when you're out there networking, and we develop what I call business owner speak, so that when you're out there, that person realizes they're not just dealing with a salesperson from an organization, they're dealing with the owner.
Okay, good. And I guess that's something you cover in more detail during a more extensive program. Looks like we've got at least one more. So Laura says, how do you find the best events to go to? You mentioned that your champion may know of some events, so you got two people looking. What are some other ways?
You know, I know that for years and years and years, my inbox was always inundated with different events. As you start to go to events, as you start to make networking a major portion of what you're doing, as you start to increase the number of events that you're going to in the course of a month, and hopefully after going through the Networking Champion system, you add more than just the complimentary once-a-month chamber meeting, you're going to meet other people there who are really sharp and really, really on the top of their game. So when you're there and you develop a rapport with these people, it's very, very easy to say, so other than this event, where have you had the best success in meeting the right people? And people will share that information with you freely. Nobody wants to go to an event where they don't know anybody. And quite honestly, that's a great way to develop potentially another champion to be working with. The real challenge here is not finding events. The real challenge here is you making the decision to become somebody you have never been. The real challenge here is for you to say, if I want to do something I've never done, I've got to become somebody I've never been. And if you make that decision, if you make that conscious decision to embrace networking, because now, rather than trying to go out there and figure it out from the seat of your pants, you've gotten a system, you have been trained, you have developed your script, you have developed your approach, you're crystal clear about who you want to meet, you've gotten your mindset correctly, then going out and networking is going to be as easy and as seamless and as fun as you could ever have imagined. Great question.
Well, Stephen, thank you. We're out of time, so I just want to say thank you for joining us today and sharing some of your experience and knowledge and system. And if you have any questions about bringing Steve in for your firm, just shoot me an email, billcates@referralcoach.com. You can go visit Steve's website, Networking Champion System, and we will let you know when our next webinar is coming up. And I guess I'll leave it with my classic statement, who are you going to be introduced to today? Thanks a lot, everybody.